Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is your no-nonsense guide to the Shattered Veil Easter egg in Black Ops 6 Zombies. There are chapters in the description so you can click through to the parts of the video that you need, but we'll start with loadout recommendations. For weapon, I think an AR would be best, and ideally one that doesn't have a crazy amount of recoil. And then you've got a choice here. You can either spawn in with the underbarrel crossbow launcher, because that'll give you some explosive damage, which we will need during the egg, or you can just spawn in with Semtexes and then craft more Semtex as you need them. Alternatively, you can spawn in with Tomahawks. Either will be useful here, and you can pick either up in the match, so it really doesn't matter too much either way. I also suggest using Ether Shroud with extra charge and making sure that in your speed cola augments you have supercharged on speed cola so that you build fuel upgrade charges faster. And then for gobblegums, we will need to get the Raygun Mark II for this Easter egg. So if you use a Wonder Bar, you have a chance to get the Raygun Mark II out of the box straight away, but I will be showing you a free way to get the Raygun Mark II as well, so you don't have to have Wonder Bar. And other gobbles that I think are great are profit sharing if you're in a co-op match, and then potentially Power Keg or Arsenal Accelerator, or both, because those are going to get you some extra Ether Shroud charges. And then for the boss fight, if you've got a near-death experience, that's awesome, but otherwise, just using something like a Shields Up is always going to be helpful. So that's it for loadout recommendations. Next, we need to spawn into the match, and the first thing you want to start working on is opening up to Pack-a-Punch. I'll explain how to do that in a moment here, but I do also want to say that this Easter egg has a huge number of random part locations, and I've done my best to include as many as possible in this video. But if you get stuck at any time, number one, check the description of the video because I'll have a bunch of extra information down there to unstuck you. And number two, check the comments section because there's going to be a ton of information down there as well. So I'm going to take a breath here and then we're going to explain how to get Pack-a-Punch open and then do the rest of the Easter egg. The steps for this very briefly are as follows. Number one, open all the doors on the map so that you can get to the elevator. But then you'll find that the elevator's broken, so you need two separate parts. The first one is a fuse, which you get from the maintenance worker. He's going to be found in the library, so kill him, pick up the part that he drops. Then next you need to destroy Richtofan's computer, and that's for a circuit board part, which is in the director's quarters. And then when you've grabbed both of those parts, you can go back to the elevator, and behind it, you can repair it by holding square, and then you can go to the front of the elevator, hold square on it a couple times, it'll open, you might have some zombies jump out at you, but then when you've taken them all out and held square again, it will open up the rappel cord so that you can rappel all the way down to the mainframe chamber below. And in the mainframe chamber, that's where you'll find Pack-a-Punch up these stairs just here. From this point, the Easter egg starts to branch a little bit, and there's a variety of orders that you can do tasks in. So I'm just going to show you an order that I think is optimal for me, but you can mix and match the order of some of these steps should you so desire. So we're going to work on getting the Raygun Mark II next. Like I said, if you've got the Wonder Bar Gobblegum, that gives you a 1 in 3 chance to get it out of the box, and multiple people in your game can have the Raygun Mark II as well, so it doesn't matter if someone else has already pulled it from the box, you can still get it. And it will also show up randomly in the box. You don't have to have the Wonder Bar Gobblegum, but the likelihood of you seeing it will increase the later in your game that you spin the box. But aside from that, here's a guaranteed way to get the Raygun Mark II for free. To start with, you need to be at round 10 or above, and you then need to go down the elevator into the mainframe chamber where the Big Sam AI is, and you need to look out for a lab technician zombie. And this zombie will drop you a floppy disk when you kill it. And there's a chance that if you've already got a nuke, for example, that might have already killed it. So you might need to look around the floor of the mainframe chamber and generally all around the floor of that underground. And once you kill that zombie and pick up the floppy, you can then go back up the elevator and you need to bring it to this room here. It's on the right-hand side if you're facing the T-Rex. And in the corner of the room, there is a computer that you can enter the floppy disk into. So hold square on that computer. When you do so, a bunch of zombies and parasites and bugs are going to spawn in. So take all of them out and then go back to the computer. And just to the left of it, there is a fax machine and you can hold square on it and there'll be a pop-up on your screen with a little message. And in that message, there'll be a capitalized word like moth or yeti or things like that. And you just need to take a mental note of what that word is in your game. And then you need to go to the child's bedroom with the little chalkboard in it. And I'm going to run there now so you can see where that is. Once we get there, we're going to be translating the word that we had in all caps into numbers. And it's very simple how we do this. Let's say your word is Yeti. You're going to find the letter Y on the chalkboard and you're going to see how many other letters it's nearby. So in my case, the Y is in a cluster of 5 letters. And so my first number is 5. Then we're going to move on to the E in Yeti. And you can see that that's in a cluster of 4 letters. So my number is 4. The T is in a cluster of 8 letters. So my number is an 8. And then the I of Yeti is in a cluster of 2, so my final number is 2, but it will be different in your game, and like I said, you might have moth, for example, instead of Yeti. So once you've got that, go back down the elevator, walk up to this Doppelgast in a little sealed chamber, and hold square on this keypad, and then enter your 4-digit code. That will open up the chamber, and you can kill the Doppelgast inside, and that will then drop a severed arm, which you can pick up, and you'll then want to follow where I'm running in the gameplay here to the armory, which is also in the underground. Enter the armory, and then walk up to the Raygun Mark II that's on the wall here, and on the right-hand side, you can hold square to attach the severed arm to the fingerprint scanner, and that will then reveal the Mark II on the wall for you to be able to pick up for free. So that's the Raygun Mark II built. Let's move on to some of the other Easter egg steps. First, I'd recommend picking up this free Casimir grenade, which you can find on this dead body just here. You can just craft one later if you need to, but this one's free. Then go to where double tap is, and in the little window behind double tap, if you throw the Casimir down in front of the window, it will suck a canister in, and then when the Casimir goes away, you'll be able to pick the canister up. This is the first of 3 canisters that we're going to be getting for this Easter egg quest, but before we worry about the other canisters, let's use this one. So come to Shem's Henge, which is outside, kind of near the spawn area, and place the canister inside this yellow box. And once you do that, it's going to spawn in a couple of abominations down in the henge area just below these steps. You need these abominations to zap the 3 small rocks in this area. Not the big rocks, but just all of the small rocks. And when each one gets zapped, it will start glowing blue, and then you need the abominations to charge into the glowing blue rocks, and that will cause them to float into the air. So once you've got them all glowing, and then you've got them all floated into the air, the abominations will die, and it will start a little defense where you'll have to protect the center area from vermin spawning in. And after you've taken out enough vermin and enough time has passed, you'll complete the step, and the canister, which we originally placed in that yellow box, will be retrievable, and it will be charged up now as an explosive canister. So with that canister picked up, you need to go back down the elevator, or you can take the fast travel from the spawn, and you need to come to this crafting bench and hold square on it, and that will place the canister inside. And then when you're holding your regular base version of the Raygun Mark II, you can hold square on the bench again, and that will craft it into the blue version of the Mark II. So that's 1 out of 3 elemental Mark IIs that we need for the Easter egg. For the second canister, we're going to need Tomahawks, so pick up some of those from a crafting bench or from the ones you can find in various areas just around the map on the floor and things like that. And then head down to the mainframe chamber and take a look at this tube just here. To the side of it, you should see a letter on the wall, and you need to make a note of whether it says A or B. Then run through to this part of the underground, and on the left, you'll see an A and a B on the wall and some pipes with gas coming out of them. And you can turn the gas on or off at a given one of those red wheels by hitting it with a tomahawk. What we want to do is we want to turn on the gas to make it flow to the letter that you've got in your game. So if your letter's A, you're going to turn on the leftmost wheel, the middle wheel, and then turn on the A, but make sure B is turned off. Or if you've got B, turn on the leftmost, turn on the middle, and then only turn on B and turn off A. You have to throw your tomahawks very precisely to get the wheels to turn, but once you've successfully turned on the 3 valves that you need to get gas to flow to your letter, you'll get an audio quote from Sam, and you'll then be able to go back to the mainframe chamber where Sam is and use an explosive like a Semtex on the front of the canister now that it's filled with gas to blow it open, and you'll be able to pick up a canister from inside by holding square. With that canister grabbed, we're going to start working on the next elemental raygun, which is the purple shotgun raygun. And for this, we need to rely on a little bit of RNG because you need to open up all of these white boxes around the map, and one of them is going to contain a bomb that you need to pick up. There are tons of locations of these things, so I'll show you a load of them now. The first white box spawn we're going to take a look at is in the armory. You can see it just on the left-hand side there. Then when you pop back out of the armory, opposite this little camper van looking thing, there is another white box just here. Then in the other room in the service tunnel, you can find another white box in the corner. Then once you go back upstairs, if you go to the southwest balcony, you can find a white box just here. Inside the building, if you go to the west hallway, there's another white box just here. And then going through there and down to the outside west balcony, you can see a white box just here. Then on the east side, if we go to the T-Rex room, you can see a white box just here. There can also be a spawn just here on the floor, and I think there's a couple of others in there. Then out the front of the grand foyer in the motor court, sure you can find some on the right-hand side just here, and then also on the left-hand side, on this far side, you can see I've got my spawn there, and that's where I actually got my essence bomb. In the Shem's Henge area, there's a white box just here, and there's another spawn you can get just here by this lion statue, and another one actually by the portal as well. Then if you go back to the conservatory, there's one in the base of the conservatory, and there can be another spawn up here as well on the right-hand side. Now, like I said, this is a non-exhaustive list of spawns because there are so many of these, but I'll put some more spawns in the description for you guys if you get stuck or you just can't find them while running around the map looking for them. Once you've picked up the bomb, there are two other parts we need to grab. Both of these can be found in fountains. The first is near the spawn area. You're going to then go to the conservatory, and just out the back, quite near to Quick Revive, you can hold square here to get your first reflector. And the second one is just here. As you can see, there is another fountain of the same kind of design. You can hold square on it and get your second reflector. So once you've got two reflectors and you've got your bomb, then go back downstairs to the underground, and on this wall of rubbly stuff here, hold square. That will place the bomb and it will blow open a tunnel inside. Then go through the tunnel, across the room, and place your canister in the machine. That will cause lasers to spawn in from the ceiling. Then do a 180 and place one of your reflectors on this metal podium just here, and your second reflector just down here, and that's going to reflect the beam across the room into one of these doppelgast statues. You then just need to melee the crystal that the beam is coming out from, and that will cause the doppelgast to turn into a real doppelgast, and you need to kill it, and that is your first doppelgast soul collected. Next, you're going to melee this reflector just here, next to where the beam is coming from, and the reflector on the other side of the room we're actually going to pick up, and we're going to run up this slope here on the left-hand side and place that reflector down at the top. We're then going to melee it, and as you can see, that is going to reflect the beam again into another doppelgast statue. So go and melee the source crystal, and that'll spawn in the doppel, kill the doppel, and that's soul number 2. Then go back to the reflector that's on the ground floor and melee that one more time, and it will reflect into a third doppelgast statue. Same deal, melee the source crystal, it will spawn in a doppel, but this time it will be an elite doppel, so it will be harder to kill, so bring your teammates in if they're around. And then once you kill it, that is your third soul collected, and you can pick up your charged canister from the other side of the room. And that one needs to go to the crafting bench in the director's quarters area. So hold square, that'll put the canister in, and then hold square again with your base raygun or any other raygun, and that'll convert it into a purple raygun. Next, we need one more canister. To get this, you don't actually have to use an elemental raygun. You can just use a regular Raygun Mark II, but it will not work with a Raygun Mark I, like a normal raygun. It has to be a Raygun Mark II, and you're going to use it to shoot these big blue crystally water pouchy looking things. There are 4 of them total, and you might get lucky and you might get your canister from like the second one you shoot or the third one, but I'm going to show you all 4 spawns now. So the first one is just here. It's quite near Quick Revive in the kind of conservatory area, and you'll see it in the roof, so shoot that with the Mark II. Then the second one, you're going to go into the mansion, you're going to take a left here, and then you'll see it outside up on the wall, so shoot that, that's spawn number 2. The third is if you go in the mansion and then go to the right, you'll see it kind of up this staircase here, so shoot that, that's number 3. And then the fourth one is going to be down the elevator in the service tunnel underground area, and you'll see it high up there, shoot that, that's going to be spawn number 4, and one of those 4 will give you your next canister. In order to charge the canister, we first need to get ourselves 4 seeds from 4 plants that we need to blow up with explosive damage. And so that could be Semtexes, like I recommended you spawn in with at the start of the video, or that could be you using the Raygun Mark II on them, because that's explosive damage as well. But you will have to use the base version of the Mark II, you can't use the elemental versions here. There are a ton of plant spawns. I'm going to show you as many as I possibly can now. So for the first one, we're going to be in Shem's Henge, and it's towards the back area by this ledge, or it's maybe also to the right by the tree. It can be around there. The next is going to be near Quick Revive. It's going to be on one of the sides of the fountain just there. Then spawn number 3 is on this side of the bridge, and there's also another spawn on the other side of the bridge. That's spawn number 4. Then if we go back to the top of the conservatory here, on the left-hand side by these bushes, you can find a 5th potential spawn. Also on the right-hand side of this area, you can find one towards this kind of corner or towards these bushes. Then if you go through the mansion to the southwest northwest balcony. There can be one out here, or another can be inside here on this table. Then another spawn is back here on this little tree well, and then another one is behind double tap in this corner, just kind of hidden away. So like I said, you're only going to get 4 of the spawns, and they're usually going to spawn near a kind of grassy area or something along those lines. After all, they are plants, but if you can't find them still, then check the description and I'll have some extra spawn spots in there. So destroy all 4 plants that you have in your game, and each one will drop a seed, so pick those up. And then when you've got 4 seeds and you've got the canister that we grabbed a minute ago, run to the conservatory and place the canister into this machine here. Then go up to one of these rectangular incubators and plant one of your seeds. It will start off small and you need to defend it while it grows over time. So take out all the zombies that are going to try and attack it, and then when the seed pops up and gets bigger, you can move on to the next machine. So that was our first machine. Let's move on to our second here. Plant your seed, defend it, wait for it to grow, take out the zombies as they attack you. I usually use explosives here. That seems to be the most consistent for me because it's quite a tight area, so Semtex and stuff is great. Your third seed machine is going to be just here, so defend it, wait for it to get big, and then your 4th seed machine is going to be just here, defend it again, wait for it to get big, and with all of them done, you'll have completed this step and you'll be able to go back over to your canister machine and pick up the charged canister. Now, if you fail any of the seeds, like if the machine takes damage, don't worry, because the seed will just plop out the front of the machine, and if you're quick, you can pick it back up again. And if you take too long, you might need to go find your plant again, but just be speedy and you'll be able to put it back in that machine again the next round to try again. But assuming you didn't fail, you can bring the charged canister to the crafting bench in the spawn and hold square on it, and that will put the canister in, and then you can hold square again to get the next Raygun Mark II, which is the marksman rifle yellow one. That's all of the elemental ray guns built, and we're now going to use them to open up 3 liminal spaces. So for our first one, we're going to use the blue elemental ray gun. So if you've switched off to a different element at this point, go back to the crafting bench down in the underground area and get yourself the blue Mark II again. Then to open up the area where the liminal space is, we're going to need to go and find a part, and it's located in the entrance to the elevator room. So hold square here and you'll see a sconce go into your inventory when you've picked it up. Then come to the T-Rex room and place the sconce on this little gap on the wall. And now we're basically going to do a call and response, or a Simon Says game, with these 2 lamps in front of you. So go and hold square on one of them like my teammate's doing here, and that light will light up while you hold square. And then it's going to go off and it's going to give you a sequence to re-enter. So for example, in my game here, the right light went back on and then it went off. So I knew that I had to go hold square on the right hand side once and then step away. Then after I'd done that, it gives you a new code, and the code is going to extend from the first one. So my first stage of this was just 1 flash on the right hand side. My second stage is 1 flash on the right, 1 flash on the left, because it's kind of building on what's gone before. So I enter my 1 flash on the right, I enter my 1 flash on the left, and then it starts the code again, but this time it gives me 3 steps. 1 on the right, 1 on the left, and then back on the right again. This could be different in your game. You might have to do them all on one side, or it will mix and match differently, but you just need to re-enter what it gives you. And once you do that, a secret door will open. With that open, head down the stairs, and then while holding your blue Raygun Mark II, you can hold square on this device next to the painting here, and that will start a process where you need to kill a bunch of zombies with your blue Raygun Mark II. And once you've killed enough zombies, their souls will all go into the painting, and a portal will open, and you can hop through the painting into an alternate version of the room you were already standing in. The next thing we need is a bell, and there are a ton of spawn locations for these, and I've got a bunch of them figured out because I save quit my game 40 times to record this Easter egg guide. So the spawns I found are as follows. You need to break the glass here, and you can pick it up from next to this plate. You can find it down here behind the glass once you break it. Once you break the glass, it can also be next to this plate here. It can also be somewhere on the floor just here. It can also be near this table. If you break the glass here, it can be also next to this broken plate. It can also be nearby to this broken statue. And it can also be quite close to this sort of tarpaulin thing. And my recommendation, if you can't find it, is to throw a couple of Semtex in that room and then go around the whole room holding square, and you should find it. Or if you're in a solo match, you can save quit your game and then reload back in, and the bell will have spawned in a different spot. Either way, it will be in that room. So destroy all the glass and then hold square, and you should be able to grab it. Once you've grabbed the bell, go back into the T-Rex room, go up the stairs and go to this bar and place the bell by holding square. And you then need the brain rot ammo mod. So go to one of the machines to put brain rot on your gun, and then come back to the bar, and you're going to need to brain rot a zombie, and then stand next to the bar and spam holding square on the bell to kind of tap the bell. And what you should see is the brain rotted zombie will realize that you need service, and it will hop over the bar and it will serve you up a drink. You need to hold square on the drink that will go onto the table, and that will pick it up in your inventory, and then go back to the blue liminal room that we were in a minute ago through that blue portal, and place that drink down on this pedestal. It will teleport all of your team members into the room with you, and you have to have somebody in your game with the blue Raygun Mark II for this to work. If you don't have the blue Mark II right now, it won't work. But assuming you do still have the blue Mark II, you'll all be in the room, and you'll have to fight a boss which has a shield, and the shield can only be broken with the blue Mark II. So break the shield, do some damage, the shield will come back up, break it again with the blue Mark II, do some more damage, and rinse and repeat this 4 or 5 times, and you'll be able to kill the boss. And this will basically charge the Sentinel artifact a little bit. So you can then go over to the Sentinel artifact and hold square, and that's your first of 3 elemental trials completed. So we're now done with the blue liminal space. We're going to move on to the purple one next. So, grab your purple Raygun Mark II, which is the one in the director's quarters, if you need a reminder, and then go over to the room where the top entrance to the elevator is, and you'll see a portrait in there. Hold square on the portrait while holding your purple Mark II, and then you'll have a challenge again to get kills with your purple Mark II. So, feed the portrait souls from the zombies, and once you've got enough kills, it will open up a portal, and you'll be able to hop inside. Inside, you need to come over to the corner of this table and look for a bottle, which is ritual elixir, which you need to pick up by holding square. Once you've done that, you'll want to exit this room and go into the room full of all the wine barrels, and you'll see this chalice on the side here. Hold square on it and it will spawn in a mega disciple, and you'll need to take that mega disciple down, and once you've killed all the zombies that spawn in alongside it, you'll see that the chalice is now glowing with a red symbol above it, and that's a sign that you've successfully done this, and you just need to do this with 2 more chalices now. The next chalice is in the spawn area. If you're underneath the bridge, you can see it really easily just here. Hold square on the chalice, it will spawn some stuff in, kill all the stuff it spawns in, then you'll see the red symbol above the chalice. And the third chalice can be found in the T-Rex room, up the stairs, sort of opposite where the T-Rex is. Hold square on it, kill everything that spawns in, and you'll see your symbol above the chalice. Next, go back into the room where the top entrance to the elevator is, and on the left, behind, and right walls, you'll see 3 2-digit numbers, and these make up a safe combination. So reading left to right, you need to mark down your numbers, and then you need to run towards the director's quarters, and in that wing of the mansion in the west hallways, you're going to be able to find this safe. Hold square on the safe and then enter the numbers that you saw on the wall, left to right, and inside you'll find a part that you can then hold square and pick up. Then go back to Shem's liminal room and hold square on the pedestal again. That will start a little lockdown in there, just like before. It will teleport your team in, and you'll need the purple ray gun for this time. So use the purple ray gun to break the boss's shield and then do damage. Break the shield again, do damage, etc. And once you kill the boss, you'll be able to go over to the Sentinel artifact and hold square on it, and that will be your purple ritual completed. The third liminal space is the yellow one. This is in the library, and for this you'll need the yellow Raygun Mark II, so grab that from the spawn area if you haven't already grabbed it, and then come to the library, hold square on the machine. That'll start the little lockdown sequence. Kill the zombies with the yellow ray gun. That'll open the door to the library. You'll be able to hop inside, and then once you've done that, exit that liminal space, and this is where we'll need ether shroud charges. This is why I recommended the power keg and arsenal accelerator gobblegums, and I also recommend having extra charge on ether shroud. There are basically several spawn points that we're going to need to check for parts, and they can only be seen while you are in ether shroud or just after your ether shroud has ended. And these spawns are a bit annoying, so what I recommend you do is watch this whole section of the video. I'll show you all the spawns I know, and I've been save quitting a bunch to try and find as many as possible, and then you'll be able to activate your ether shroud and potentially pick up multiple parts all in one go. So there are 3 fireplace spawns. The first is here in the east foyer, and the second, if you run through, is just here in the study. And then the third one is here in the banquet hall to the left of the elevator. So those are 3 fireplaces. You will have a part in one of those spots. Then there is an audio recorder, and this one can spawn in on top of the briefcase just outside the portal in the library, or it can spawn in on this desk in the T-Rex room on the left-hand side of the bar area. here. And then there's a ledger part, and that can spawn here inside the study on this desk just next to this fireplace, or it can spawn at the very top of this staircase just next to this briefcase. So you'll have one fireplace spawn, one audio recorder spawn, and one ledger spawn. But like I said, they can only be seen while you're in Ether Shroud. So Ether Shroud, check all the spawn points, and you should get all 3 parts. And you'll probably need to use multiple Ether Shrouds to check all of them. So use those power kegs, and you can even get yourself a free Ether Shroud using my all side quests video. I've got all the free power-ups listed in there, which is linked in the description and in the corner of the screen right now. Now, in your game, if you can't find any of those 3 parts, you've got 2 options. Number 1 is check this video description, because I'll add some extra detail in there and pointers to make sure that you guys can find what you're looking for. But second, if you're in a solo game, you can actually save quit and then reload in, and your spawns will have changed. So if there's one that you can't find, try save quitting and then loading back in and check all the spawns again, and you might then be able to find your part. So once you've got all 3 of those parts, you then need to go back to the library, and don't go into the liminal library, just stay in the real world, and there'll be 3 glowing books on the bookshelf. You need to hold square on those books in the following order. First, it's going to be the one that has the symbol that's like a sideways 6. Then it's going to be the one that's got a circle with a line going all the way through it and another smaller line. And the third is going to be the 3 dots. If this order of book symbol entries doesn't work for you, then just do a different order once the books reset, and after a couple of goes, you should get it. If you do it too slowly or something, the books will basically reset back into place, so you can just like wait 30 seconds and then try again. But once you've activated your 3 books, you'll see a secret door appear to the left of you, and in there on the ground, you need to pick up another part, and you then need to go back into the liminal library and place that part on the pillar, and then it's the same as before, using the Yellow Mark II this time to take the boss's shield away and then kill the boss. And once you've done that, hold square on the Sentinel artifact, and that will complete this ritual. You are now at the stage of the game where you need to prepare for boss fight. My recommendations are Chopper Gunner. It's extremely good for this boss fight. Self-revives. The blue SMG Raygun Mark II. I quite like that one. Casimirs or decoys. Pack-a-Punch tier 3 if you can get there, and gold rarity if you can get there. And I like near-death experience and shields up as my gobblegums. When you're ready to enter boss fight, go back to the Samantha AI in the underground and hold square on the panel in front of her. And then if you're in co-op, your team will need to vote to go into the fight. And then you'll get a big cutscene, and once the cutscene ends, you will spawn in a new arena outside with a zombie dinosaur attacking you. This fight works in several stages, which we'll run through now. In stage 1, the zombie dinosaur is going to try and smack you with its tail, so don't get too close to it, and it's going to try and eat the toxic zombies in the arena. When it does that, the toxic zombie is going to sort of sit in its tummy for a little bit, and you're going to be able to shoot the T-Rex on its ribs, and they'll be glowing green, and that will do like 25k damage. It's a lot of damage. I believe if you wait too long to shoot it when it's doing that kind of charge with its ribs, it will then spit out a bunch of green goo, and that will start to make the arena smaller and smaller, and this will just happen as well generally as you play through the fight. So whenever you get the opportunity, you want to shoot those green glowing ribs, but when they're not glowing, you want to shoot the boss in its eyeballs. And you need to be careful because the boss will sometimes jump around as well, so be very careful not to get too close to it. Once you've done about a quarter of the boss's health, it will jump out of the arena, and you'll just need to kill zombies for about 45 seconds. And while it's jumping up there, it is actually still going to be able to take some damage for a few seconds, so you can get some extra shots in, but once it's kind of found its feet outside the arena, it's going to become immune, so just survive, and then it will jump back in, and it will start attacking you once again. For the next stages of the fight, it's going to start doing a kind of charged attack raw thing, so be careful of that, and just like before, make sure that you're shooting its eyeballs to crit and its ribs when it's eating a glowing zombie. Then it will jump out of the arena again. You'll need to survive for another 45 seconds. It will jump back down again. It'll keep attacking you. And this happens a couple of times. I think there's 4 phases. And so what my recommendation is to do the first phase, which is going to be the easiest phase, while you've got your Casimirs and stuff like that, just using your guns. And then for the next stages, that's where I would use your chopper gunners. So if you're in solo, save your chopper gunner for the very end of the fight. But if you're in co-op, just keep a chopper per phase. And that will do a ton of damage to the boss, and you'll take it down pretty easily. And that should then be Easter egg complete. But if you're having trouble with the boss fight or any other part of the Easter egg quest, I've got a video linked on screen right now that has a bunch of tips so you're never going to die again playing this map. And it's going to make it incredibly straightforward. So click through to that video if you want some extra tips here. But otherwise, congrats on finishing the Easter egg, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.